I want to talk about cultivating intergenerational wisdom. All right, cultivating intergenerational wisdom. Those are a lot of syllables for let's get to know our grandparents and our grandchildren better. But I want to talk about why I I want to talk about why I think that's important and why I was motivated to do it, how I do it, and also why the world doesn't do it. Okay. So, in case you're meeting for the very first time, my name is April Bragg, and I am a Christian life coach. And one of the things that I have pursued all my life is wisdom. I have been fascinated with the idea of wisdom. Now, there's several definitions of wisdom, and one of it might be a set of skills, like a skill set you develop. Another might be a better way. I like defining it that way. Oh, that's a better way of doing something. That's wisdom. It's like, oh, there's less of a downside, there's more of an upside. So I was thinking about this podcast when I realized that we really like to group people according to generations. And, the whole boomer versus millennial versus Gen X versus Gen Z versus I don't know what the next generation is going to be. And the generation before that was the greatest generation. They went through all the hardship. But at a very young age, I realized that we all are the same people at heart, and we're all kind of cyclical and reactive. I remember talking about how with my grandma and my mom, how they were talking about how housekeeping skills seem to skip a generation. Like one generation is good at it, the next one is not so great, the next one learns to be great at it, so good that they don't usually pass all those skills to the next. That was a profound moment for me. I'm like, I'm going to pass on those skills. So listen, y'all, your thoughts control your life. This is an example of thoughts controlling my life. But as I was thinking about that, I realized that, yes, this is a sign that this is what the world makes fun of. Old people versus young people. Young people they don't know how to work hard. They don't know what it takes to succeed. They're not willing to put in the effort. And then the young people look at the older people thinking, you're determined to do it the hard way. There's a better way of doing it. Why won't you take a chance? Try something new and exciting. Don't just give up. Don't just settle into old routines. This is why, actually, we need each other. And I'm very excited because probably when this podcast comes out, I will be spending time. I am very fortunate, very blessed to still have access to my grandmother. My grandmother is still living. So I've got my grandmother, I've got my mother, then there's me, there's my daughter, 4 generations. And I love picking all of their brains, even my brain sometimes, but picking all of their brains at different times for different reasons. How would you look at this? I cannot tell you how many times I've asked my daughter, how do you see this? Because she's younger. She's more exploratory. She's more willing to take chances. She hasn't learned as many lessons as I have and been beaten down by life and been like, no, let's not do that again. She's willing to take a chance and be like, oh, well, that didn't work out. Let's try something different. So a lot of times I will borrow thoughts from her. My mother is a source of wisdom. She and I are alike in so many ways, but very, very different in so many ways, especially our personalities. And so I love to ask her, how would you think about this? How would you approach this? What are your thoughts? And I'm always surprised at how different they are. I'm always surprised at her approach versus my approach, because it's usually from 2 different angles. Then my grandmother. My grandmother has seen a thing or two, and you never know until you ask the question what she's going to say. And so I remember one time, in fact, I remember actually my paternal grandmother just going on about her thoughts about the different presidents' wives and who was classy and who she really admired and who she didn't admire and all the reasons. And it just struck my mind of this is first class experience. Like this is first person experience of events that were before I was born. And I have perspective from history books, but she has perspective from life. So the value when you have a chance to talk to people that are older than you, or younger than you, to me, I think of it as, and you can borrow this from me, I think of it as there's 100 years of wisdom in this room. 100 years. What can we learn together? We need all the perspectives. The person who can appreciate all the perspectives and use them to inform her perspective is going to be the wise woman. So that's been my thought. That's been the way that I've been approaching it. Now, let me tell you some different ways to cultivate intergenerational wisdom. And number one, ask questions. Find people and ask questions. Look for opportunities to hang out with people that are not the same age. So recently, I went down to Miami. Actually, I've taken a couple trips to Miami. And I had the chance to develop friendships with people that were older than me and younger than me. And it was the combination. It was a small group of women. We were all coaches, all in the same room for 3 days. And more than anything, it was our age differences that brought a broader perspective, a broader knowledge, a broader wisdom to what we are facing. When you hear somebody that's older than you talk about the same struggles that you're going through and what they've done to overcome it, it gives you hope. When you hear somebody younger than you talking about the same struggles that you've struggled with, and you can share with them how you have dealt with it, it gives you, you get to be the person that gives hope. It is a very much a beautiful give and take. And it's not, let me just say this, beware of thinking that it flows one way, oldest to youngest. Because like I said, I think it flows both ways, oldest to youngest, youngest to oldest. So I grew up thinking, well, I should always listen to my elders. And that is a wise way to look at it when you are just a child. But when you get to be my age, listen for the truth, listen for the gold, listen for the goodness, the nuggets, the wisdom that come from either direction. I love that Jesus many times used little children to teach us lessons. We're not going to enter the kingdom of heaven unless we become as a little child. So that shows us that children have something to teach us. That does not mean that we need to put children to lead us. Otherwise, we'll all be eating candy for supper. Sorry, you guys, I just went there. But be looking for how can I become more like a child and enjoy life more? And what wisdom is there available no matter the age? How are they looking at this situation differently than me to inform my perspective? Okay, another way, and this is, I think, an underrated way to cultivate intergenerational wisdom. And I have been very, very fortunate in this way. I have to give all the credit to my grandmother. Reunions. Holding family reunions. I realize one of the reasons why I have such perspective, why I appreciate the perspective of, my grandmother, is because of the way that she created space for that. She, in her prime, would hold a family reunion for her side of the family. All of her sisters, her mom, her dad, all that side. They would always get together, and then she carried on that tradition. And on her husband's side, my grandfather's side of the family. So on my mom's side of the family, I knew all my second cousins and my third cousins both sides. Y'all, I have cousins. Some of my cousins listen to this podcast. Do you know what it's like to go through life knowing that you're not alone? To go through life knowing that you have family rooting for you, even if they're distant relatives. That's one of the reasons why, by the way, I love what Facebook does really well, is it keeps us connected to each other in a beautiful way like that. Family reunions, underrated opportunities to cultivate intergenerational wisdom. Let's just leave it at that. One of the best, also, besides family reunions, there was a thing that my church did a few years ago. It was called If Gatherings, and I forget the woman who organized it. I forget the name of the founder, but my church just, took part in it. But for a full year, we volunteered to maybe host 6 to 8 women in our home. So we kept the group small, and when they were putting the groups together, they made sure to mix it up. So whether you have a gathering like that or a small group or women that you get together on a regular basis, mixing the ages up makes it more magical. So I had the experience of, for a year, every month, I hosted 5 or 6 other women at my house. And it was like there was 3 different generations going on. And it was an amazing time of growth, an amazing time of fellowship, an amazing time of us deepening our faith and seeing life from a broader perspective. Right now, I am super fortunate in that I have a group of other ladies, and we're all mixed ages too, and we're all coaches. And once a month, we get together for dinner. We have been doing it for about 6 months now, and I walk away from every experience amazed at how enriching, how much better the experience is, because there are people from their 30s to their 60s in the group. Y'all, cultivate some intergenerational wisdom in your life. Look for an opportunity. Maybe the first opportunity doesn't work out for you, but look for another. Look for ways to do that. I think it will be a huge blessing in your life. Look for ways to do it in your own family. Maybe you are a wonderful hostess and you can start something like that. Maybe you can just invite, maybe you have a get together with friends. Maybe you can create another one or invite somebody that's older, a couple of people that are older and a couple of people that are younger. It seems to help to have 2 of each at least, because they cheer each other on. If I'm asking a question of an older woman, sometimes she's hesitant to reply. But if there's another woman there, then they start talking and they start chiming in. You're going to learn. You're going to learn some stuff. And so I guess what I'm saying is, and this is actually it looks like it's going to be a very, very short podcast. But if you, like me, have a heart for becoming wiser, then look intergenerational. Look to the people that are older than you. Look to the people that are younger than you. Put them together in a group once a month with food. Make it fun. Oh, I cannot even tell. Let me emphasize that again. Make it fun. Do not make it a formal Bible study. That was the one thing that we did well in our group, at least at the church. We were like, we're going to keep this casual. We're going to ask their questions. And if the questions felt heavy, we just didn't ask them. We kept it fun. We kept it light. It's amazing that when we kept it light and fun, we always had a way of drifting deeper. But we did not make it super formal. We did not make it super spiritual. We did not put pressure on each other to, so you tell me how I need to have a better, deeper walk with Christ and how I need to overcome this besetting sin. No, conversational. Try it like that. I'm just thinking, as I'm saying this, I'm thinking out loud, saying, do I want to stand behind this advice? And I really think I do. I really think I want to stand behind the advice of start at the conversational and allow it to go where it wants to go. So, what do you need to do to cultivate a wonderful intergenerational group? Number one, know some people, know some women that are older than you, know some people that are younger than you, women that are younger than you. Two, invite them in. Bring food. Food's always helpful, I think. Three, have some conversation questions. What was it like for you? What do you think about? And then also four, try to do the same group over and over again. Around the second time or the third time or the fourth time, you will notice a much bigger relaxation around each other, a much more comfort around each other. And don't get discouraged if your first group doesn't work. So I just thought today I would just share with you one of the things that has really been a blessing to my life. So looking forward to seeing my grandma and getting some more wisdom from her. I am looking forward to the next time that I get together with my coach friend ladies. And I hope this has sparked some ideas for you. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.